Hi, I'm Jeff Gonzalez, president of Trident Concepts, and today I'm here with Brownells Daily Defense to talk to you about license to carry versus constitutional carry. So, there's a lot of news about the surge in states pursuing legislation surrounding constitutional carry. And the question is, well, what is constitutional carry? What constitutional carry means is that it's recognizing that this is a right and it's returning it back to a status of being a right. So that means that regulation and marginalization and all that stuff is going away, which is a good thing. It's a very important thing. Constitutional carry does not mean that criminals are going to be able to carry. It doesn't mean that prohibitive possessors are going to be able to carry. It doesn't mean that anybody that shouldn't carry is going to be able to carry. All it means is that there's no longer a process to go in through the government's permission-based to get a license to carry. That's all it means. It means that you don't have to ask permission anymore. And that's a big thing because if you're asking permission, it's a privilege, not a right. One of the things that I talk about is, some people are a little concerned about that. There's some anxiety about, well, oh my goodness, we open up the floodgates, all sorts of bad things are going to happen. And no, not really. And I can say this because there's one state in the union that has had constitutional carry since its existence. It's in its state's constitution, and that state is Vermont. They've been a constitutional carry state forever, and yet you don't see any of the crazy fear-mongering dialogue that people are trying to sway you to. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen in any of the states that have introduced regular license to carry process. So, we really shouldn't be worried about that. It's not realistic to expect that just because law-abiding citizens no longer need to ask permission to carry, that all of a sudden chaos is going to erupt. All right, and that's really what we're talking about here. What I remind people about is that constitutional carry is about recognizing the Second Amendment as a right, and really what I'm interested in is I'm interested in incentivizing people to go out there and actually exercise the right. And so what I feel is valuable is many states are maintaining the license to carry process so that whether or not you want to carry without a permit or you want to go through the process of getting a permit, it's still there for you. Many states are doing this. And while some states have some restrictions, for example, there's an age restriction. The state of Vermont has an 18-year restriction, so you have to be 18 years or older. My state, Texas, is looking at passing legislation that would have an age of 21. So, there's still some restrictions, but for the most part, it's recognizing your ability to exercise your right. So the question is, is it really dangerous to do this? And my answer is no. I don't feel that it's going to be dangerous to do this. We have to recognize that let's back up. Criminals are not going to follow the law. So now what we're doing is we're just recognizing that a citizen who has been following the law now has the ability to exercise their right without any restrictions. Simple. One of the things that I talk about is that many people have not pursued a license to carry because there's some difficult hurdles that they have to overcome. There's time, there's cost, there's weight. So to get a permit, you have to take the time to be able to go to the class. Sometimes the classes are 1 day, sometimes they're 2 days. There's a cost associated with the submission of the permit. There's also a cost associated with the educational aspect of it. There's a wait, and that wait can be anywhere from 1 month all the way up to 6 months. Bottom line is that during those time periods, we're excluding citizens from being able to exercise their right because they either can't afford to take off work, they don't have the funds to actually pay for it all, or they can't really afford to wait 6 months to get their license. So all we're doing is just recognizing that you no longer need to do any of that. There's been several states that have successfully transitioned to constitutional carry this year, and we're looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of 22 states at this point. I bet that we'll probably see 25 states very easily here by the end of the year. And what that's really saying is that the states are recognizing that this is a right and we need to honor that right. The one thing that I would say that I could possibly label as being bad would be reciprocity. So reciprocity is your ability or your state's license being recognized by another state. So if I wanted to travel to another state that had a license to carry process and my license was recognized by their state, I could legally carry. As long as I'm familiar with their laws in that state, I could legally carry. So when we see our constitutional carry states start to increase, what's going to happen with reciprocity? And I think that's probably one of the most important reasons why a license to carry process still stay in effect, is so that folks that want to travel outside of their home state can do so, at least if that other state has reciprocity, can do so because they now have a license. So many people are going to forego the license process altogether, which is fine. That's their prerogative. Others are going to recognize, well, I want to still travel to other states, and so I want to maintain my license because that allows me to, or that other state will recognize my license and I'll be able to legally carry. And so that's about the only con that I can actually see with regards to constitutional carry, is that reciprocity can be a little bit more challenging for you. So there's a lot of things that are happening, and I can understand how some people might feel a little uneasy with this, because now we're seeing more states recognizing this as a right. But if you maintain an open mind, if you learn a little bit more about what constitutional carry really means, I think that it's probably not going to be quite as much of an issue. So if you have questions or comments, please feel free to post down below. If you know that your state is a constitutional carry state, then post it down below. If your state is in the process of passing legislation, please post it down below. We'd love to hear about your involvement in that process. So I'm Jeff Gonzalez. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to post them down below. Until then, take care, stay safe.